Oh yeah, no problem. Now.
We're on. Come in on me. On two. Yeah. Or I might slide. Hey, GLoLady here. How are you? Today is October the 10th, 2008, and this is live at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be live until 7:30 this evening. And thank you for joining us. We have a lot of really cool things going on. And yes, you had seen season 2 roll in. I still haven't made it in to make a season 3 roll in yet. But we have gas. We have gas in Western North Carolina. I'm so excited. And gas is like $3.39 a gallon. That was like really, really amazing. My name is Lisa, and I am the producer. And this is GLoLady TV, and it is streaming live on the internet at www.urtv.org here in Asheville, North Carolina. It's a public access station, and that means that the public has access to professional equipment in order to produce their own good stuff. So that's what I'm doing today, and have been for a year now, and it's like way cool. And this past weekend, this season, the theme is Solutions for Change. And this past weekend, I was watching a movie, and it was something about Wounded Knee. And it's so amazing how if nothing changes, nothing changes. And that's history, you know, his story. You know, his story sucks, you know. If nothing changes, nothing changes, and we keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. And this movie was very enlightening as to our government and how they can manipulate. And, you know, the treaty, or not the treaty, but they had for their land, for the Black Hills, for, you know, the mines. And it's like, wow, you know, they knew what they were doing. And either you sign this or we're going to take it. And it's similar to what's going on today. And at the end of the movie, it had said something like that the Indians had never claimed the money that was for the Black Hills, for the land in the Black Hills. And it's so interesting how it's playing out today. Either you're going to do this, you know, either you're going to do this or we're going to take it anyhow. And you know, sad to say, but if nothing changes, nothing changes. And that's what the show is all about. It's solutions for change. And my thought in a solution is, what if we were to give the National Park Service, the lands in the National Park Service, to the Indians? Because they honor the land, they know the value in the land, and if the United States was supposed to be for our religious freedom, well, you know, I think that they were the first ones who were prosecuted for their religious freedom. You know, I mean, they're not the Christian, you know, the holy right, the, you know, damn you if you don't take my God, you know, and that's why they were slaughtered. I mean, downright slaughtered. You know, their land was stolen from, you know. The tribing up is so important, and the parks and recreation, well, okay, the national land or whatever. You can't camp in your National Park Service for more than 14 days. If you park or camp for more than 14 days, you're going to get a citation, a fine. And it's like, wow, you know, here these are supposed to be the national lands for the people, and, well, you know, sorry, if you don't have a place to live and you want to camp, you know, you can't camp here. You know, where do all of the homeless people go? When you are forced from your home, where do you go? Well, you know, look at the hurricanes, and they have those re-education centers and camps, and isn't that similar to the reservations? You know, and isn't that similar to the mindset of, wow, you just wiped everything out, you know, you have nothing left, you know, where do you go, what do you do, who are you? You know, and it's very easy to apply with someone's mind when they just lost everything. You know, when you lose totally everything that you loved and worked for, and it's like, who am I? You can be molded into this is who you are instead of. And there again, when you do that, that's that genius that hinges on insanity, only when you're not true to yourself. And then with the Indians, well, wait a minute, that's not me. The white man's way is not me. This is who and what I am. And when they were forced to do something else, well, I wonder why they drank. You know, let me kill that pain. You know, let me forget about how it was. You know, and I see it happening all over again. And there again, it's not just in, but also in our institutions. You know, we have the criminal justice system. And you know, what is the purpose of our criminal justice system? That's what I'd like to know. Criminal justice, okay, well, if you're being bad, then let's punish you. But you raise up a child the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. We've heard that saying before. So if you are teaching someone, and this is how they are, well, why do you expect them to change when they're older if they don't know any different, and if this is what they were taught? And you have the criminal justice system and the revolving door of the criminal justice system. It's like, why is it revolving? Well, it's revolving because it's all about the money. Why do we not want to help the people who are in the criminal justice system? Well, if they keep coming back, that's more money, that's more money. What is the reason that they're in the criminal justice system? Well, if you look at statistics, a large portion of people who are incarcerated are because of drug and alcohol offenses. Now, I'm sorry, I'm an alcoholic. Well, I'm not sorry because, you know, because I'm an alcoholic, because I have gotten help for this dis-ease within me, I understand what it's all about to be an alcoholic. And it's I'm not a bad person, I'm a sick person, but I didn't know that I was sick until I found out what the problem was. Now, if you have people coming into the criminal justice system and they don't understand that they are alcoholic or drug addict, that they are doing these behaviors that they would not do if they were not under the influence, you know, they are sick. It's not that they need to be confined into a room to have some more mental masturbation going on. You know, we need solutions for change. If you have a solution for change, that's what this show's all about. We're going to have some people on this this season that I'm really excited over. We have Shannon that's going to be coming on a little bit later on. And I have Kelly Beard who's going to be calling in today. Yes, we're going to do it one more time. We're going to see if we can get her calling in. And then I've been networking because of it being an international show. So I'm networking throughout the world now. And I've gotten a couple of responses of people who were interested. And Tanya Johnson, that's someone who we're negotiating when and how and all that kind of good stuff for her to be on my show. And she is now with Travelin' On radio show. And what I find interesting is that she was with the U.S. Department of Education and Homeland Security in the Office of Civil Rights. And it's like, oh, wow, that's quite a jump, but I can understand it. When you are in the CEO, in that type of, wow, that's a whole lot of pressure. And I'm sure that she'd have a whole lot of solutions from being in there. So I'm looking forward to her being on this show too. Now we're talking about the money issue, okay? We're talking about this big bailout. Well, who exactly are we bailing out? Where exactly is the money going? It's like, they're not telling you, and they're not going to tell you how bad it really, really is. But they're going to show you how ignorant they are by their disregard for the American people by going on lavish vacations and spending on extravagant purchases. Come on. We have to be responsible for. We as American people have these rights because there have been people who had taken up that responsibility to protect our freedoms and our rights. We used to live in a bubble, and I was one who, growing up, I lived in my happy little bubble. World was going on all around me, but I grew up in the country, and I talked to my God all the time. I used to lay out in the fields and, talk to my God all the time, and life was good. There was a war, but it didn't affect me. I was in my little bubble. It wasn't until that bubble was pricked, and I started to understand, wow, it's not all about me. But what can I do? What can I do to help change things the way they are? What good am I if I'm just going to be complaining like too many people? Don't complain. When you complain, you focus on the problem. If you focus on the problem, then that's what it's going to be. If you look for the solution, then that's what we'll see. And that's what this show is all about. We have to get ourselves together. Charity begins at home. Panic is not a part of sacred medicine. Be aware of angry souls. You owe you a life of integrity. Man, I'm just going on and on and on, aren't I? But that's the way GLoLady TV is. I had a bunch more information on here, but this is a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be coming back into. With the criminal justice system, all of the notes that I've had, I'm not going to really go into a whole lot more on that. Also, Yom Kippur, is that how you pronounce it? Well, that's really cool. You don't have to be Jewish to understand the symbolism of Yom Kippur. Is it Kippur or Kippur? Kippur?
Both ways.
Well, I'm going to introduce you to Shannon because Shannon's hanging out over here with me. Say, hey, Shannon.
Hey.
Shannon's hanging around with me. This is like so cool. She's going to be telling you all about what she did last weekend and why she couldn't be here. But it was like really exciting. Anyhow, we're going to go back into Yom Kippur. And that is forgiving yourself for the mistakes. So the next, I guess it's now 10 days or 8 days, because I guess it was like 2 days ago. But it's like for the next 8 days, we're supposed to forgive ourselves for the mistakes that we've made. And wow, that's a really cool tradition.
Yeah, you need to get unstuck.
That's it. That's it. And that's that insanity, that hell that we have on earth. The hell is in our minds, of what people have told us. Their thoughts, their beliefs, our guilt, ooh, I must be a bad little girl, and that guilt that just festers.
Oh, yeah, and you have to get unstuck and just go on from that point and not look back.
That's
That's
it.
the only way we get better.
That's it. But a lot of people don't understand it.
If we don't admit it, how can we fix it?
That's it. recognizing what the problem is the very, very first time. Ooh, we're not having a call in yet, are we? Say not yet, but Kelly's gonna be calling in, but we never know how it's gonna go. You guys know how it goes around here. Or at least some of the people that have been joining us for a while know how it goes around here.
Well, I've been watching you for a long time, and I like the way it goes.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. That's so cool. Yeah, tell everybody how we had met.
Yeah, well, the open house. They had an open house here at URTV, but prior to that, we had been watching the station at our home it was on just about 24 hours. And we'd switch back and forth. Now, I must say that, favorite shows that we had on the networks, but we always came back to the station. We started watching Lisa, and we enjoyed her. We enjoyed your enthusiasm, and to meet you the first time, you were exactly the same when we met you at the open house.
You get what you get.
You get what you get with Lisa, and that's what we liked so much. So from that, our friendship grew.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of fun.
That's it, and we're going to have even more fun because you're going to be meeting Mark. M. Nelson Staley is co-producing. He's in the control room right now. And then a little bit later on, you are going to meet the I Ching lady and the I Ching guy. And they're going to tell you a little bit more about I Ching. So we've got all kinds of really, cool stuff going on around here. And I guess that's why I like doing it. Oh, and something else. Which I've sent out a please be a speaker here, and that is for ncgreenpower.org. And it's all about green power and how, getting the community, and this is the first state that is doing something like this, and it's putting money into renewable energy sources, and it's like, whoa, yeah, way cool, because that's what it's gonna come down to. I mean, it's definitely going to come down to the tribe, the community, and I was watching a show on TV today, and it had said about, Christmas gifts, and, Christmas is coming up. And yes, even though it is a religious, holiday, it's like, okay, well, what's it really all about? And it's about giving, but it's giving from the heart. Yeah. And it's like, how can you give? And then you feel so bad because I don't have the money to give. And, so my solution for that is to, in your community, have a trade day, a barter day, where one day you come to a certain place, bring your new, and gifting, give me a break. So what if it's uncouth or whatever, to give away a new present that somebody gave you that you're never gonna use, that's collecting dust? I mean, we've become such a disposable, expendable society, and that's where part of the problem lies.
Instead of having a garage sale, just
well, I'm thinking of, right. Everybody, here, and maybe even a ticket. Okay, you have one thing, here's one ticket. And it's like, okay, I want this. You walk out and you trade your ticket. I brought one. Right. Or people who have stuff, and I don't want it, but I want to help someone have a Christmas. Mm-hmm. And we're not saying your old junk.
Yeah.
But new stuff.
Yeah. Or stuff that you bought, you thinking you wanted, and then you went a different direction.
That's it.
And then what's ever left over, we can take to the charities.
There you go. That's it. I came in here and I wasn't going to do it again this week, and it's like, oh, can you talk while I take a drink?
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry. I didn't bring a smaller cup. I forgot, and I just
you've got a
brought.
big drink.
I know, and that's right. You weren't here last week.
No, I wasn't here last week.
Yeah. I had a coughing fit.
Oh, did you?
I had a coughing fit, and I had to take a drink. Well, go ahead, Shannon. Take it away.
Yeah. board of citizens that live there and go over your plan with them, and they let you know whether that's going to work or whether it's not going to work. So you got this whole community very close to Asheville doing this right now, and I thought that was so interesting.
Wow.
That they're
it's all green. The whole community is all green?
Yes.
Wow.
I think I'm not sure how many people live there right now or how big it is. I do know that, and I'll find this out for everybody, that you can actually go visit there. And they'll take you on a tour, and I just think that would be so interesting.
Did you go on the
see.
tour?
No, I just
you just heard about it.
Yeah. So I would love to see the alternatives that are going on there. You know, it's really sounded wonderful to me. So I'm really excited about that opportunity to see that. Yeah, and that we are all thinking the same way now. Well, you know, after this last scare.
Which one?
Well, okay, let's take Asheville specifically, the gas scare.
Oh, yeah.
Gas. And you know what was funny? It was almost a little bit calming to me because I didn't feel like every day I had to run somewhere. I felt like I shouldn't run somewhere. And then Mark and I were kind of sitting down and deciding for the week, like you plan a menu for a week, which is really a good thing. I've started doing that a while back, and I got to change my menu after last weekend. However, we started planning if we needed to go here or there or wherever we needed to go in the community, and we kind of made a route so you're not wasting any gas. And you know, it's kind of nice. It's like it was relaxing in a strange way, and you kept looking at how much gas do I have left, and I'm planning how many more days can I survive. And when you start doing that, you think, oh my goodness, you know, we are talking about survival here. There's got to be another way. And since we can't have a horse in our neighborhood, you know, you're thinking, wow, you know, what are we going to do?
Well, then I guess that I'll have to visit you on my horse one of these days.
That would be great.
That's you know, in my plans. You know, this is I'm putting it out there. I'm looking for I'm looking for a large piece of land with a house, big, because we're tribing up. There's a couple of people.
Your community?
Me, I'm tribing up with a couple of other people, and whoever else comes along. Hey. Ooh, this must be Kelly Beard. Hello, could this be Kelly? The other phone's just ringing and ringing and ringing? Oh, did you get it, Mark? Oh, you can call back, and if it doesn't... Oh, it's ringing right... Oh, shit. Go ahead, pick it up. Can you pick it up, Mark? And when you do, just keep talking just in case you can't hear me. Yeah, they're trying to pick it up. This is Kelly Beard on the phone, people. Wait a minute, let me get you on speaker here.
Okay, you might have her now. Speak to her.
Oh, Kelly, are you calling on? You're on my, is she on the other phone or just on here?
I'm on the other phone too.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. We're live.
Whoa!
Hello, Asheville.
It's working.
Yay.
Say hey, Kelly. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored. How are you?
Oh, always good. What else is new?
Oh, lots of new. Planets are moving around, pushing us in new directions, trying to help us to the next level. I thought I would stop by and let you know what was going on.
Cool. Well, I just had up there on the TV to Google karmic tools if anybody is looking for you.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because you are such a. I love this girl. I mean, only my middle name is Gay, but I love this girl.
You're so silly.
I have Shannon here in the audience in the room with me. So you haven't met Shannon yet. This is my. She was on with my miracle story the one time.
Wow. Hi, Shannon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I am good. Very good.
Okay, hey, I'm going to let you do your stuff because you're just so good at what you do. Everybody, this is Kelly. Let her enlighten you. And
No.
understand that astrology is not bad. It's just enlightening to help you understand yourself, the things around you, the meaning of life, in other words. Take it away, Kelly.
Hi. Well, I use astrology as just a language to help understand what you're working with, understand what's going on around you, so that maybe you can make better decisions in the moment. And my stuff is primarily self-empowerment directed. I don't do any type of prediction. I'm not into that at all. But I do believe in cycles. I believe that a lot, and I can scientifically prove a lot of the things that have happened that are happening again. And a lot of the things that have happened in 2006, 7, and 8 some things have been once in a lifetime. Well, a lot of things have been once in a lifetime for our lifetime, but they have happened over hundreds of years in their own cycle, in their own complete cycles. But what we're going to do today is just talk a little bit about the full moon coming. We have a full moon on the 14th of October, and basically on the full and new moon, we try to get together. I have a free conference call that I do once a month. October actually has 2, so I have a free conference call on October coming up on the Thursday the 16th, and then 2 weeks later on Thursday the 30th, where we're going to cover one of those big aspects on the 16th. Saturn is the planet of our definition of reality, our forms and structures, what we're all going through right now with the government, institutions, all of that good stuff, educational, healthcare system. All of our structures need to be shifted and changed and improved on to serve us at this time in this world, in this lifetime, for the people that are here, is getting together with Uranus, which is radical shift. So this is a lot of the intensity that everyone is feeling but maybe can't articulate. And it only does what it's doing this November 4th, which is actually Election Day in America. It only does that every 40 to 45 years. And the last time it happened was 1965 to 67. And it was very intense, as you all know. Anyone that was alive then or has read their history books knows a lot of radical shifting was going on. And we're about to get hit with that again. So I'd love everyone to join us for the free call, and you can definitely find me on the website for how to do that. But for now, we're going to touch base on what's happening this week. And this week, it is kind of intense. Aries is the energy of independence and courage of your convictions. And really, this is when I tell everyone I give you permission to be selfish. All year long, we have twice a year, we get to work with each of the 12 signs. And in March, April time, it is Aries new moon when we initiate and we begin the new natural year. And you get things started, and spring is here in America, and we start blooming and blossoming and coming to life. Now, 6 months later, we have the full moon in Aries, and it's time to prune things and cut back and release and see what's working, what's not in terms of just you. Aries represents the individual. It is you being independent and responsible for you in the context of the collective, of the community, of your relationships, and doing whatever healing work and things you need to do. So this week, you have a tremendous opportunity to release any blockages to you being independent. It is definitely time, especially in an election year, to be thinking for yourself and figuring out what is most important to you. So anything that you would like to do this week in terms of just releasing toxic relationships, releasing any imbalances. The whole point of Aries and Libra energy is to acquire that balance between how much you do for you and how much you do for others. And so this is your chance to take a little time out, whatever you can get. I mean, if it's only a half hour, that's all you can get, that's fine. But take some time to just review and go over your life for a minute and see what needs to be released. Who are you today? Who are you in the context of not necessarily in the context of your culture or your family or your community, but you at the core of your being. What is really important to you, what gets you going, what makes you passionate and active out in the world and want to get up every day and do something. So we're balancing that assertiveness, where you do what you have to do for you, and accommodation, where you accommodate others. There has to be a give and take. And this is just a time where you get centered and connected to what's really, really, really important to you. And lately, the one big thing there's two big things assisting us with this full moon. One is that Mercury, our planet of communication and our ideas and our thoughts and things, has been backwards for about 3 weeks. It's going to go forward the day after the full moon. And the way that I explain that to people is any time a planet is changing direction, going forward or backwards, it pauses and it gathers juice. It gathers energy. And so we get this extra beam of energy that feels kind of intense at times. But I tell my people, if you're going to change directions, you need to pause and think and be still and gather juice, gather energy before you totally change direction from one direction to another. So this is all completely natural, and my whole thrust is getting people in tune with the natural cycle so that your body and your being can be at peace within, and then navigating this crazy world isn't quite as hard or seemingly impossible. It's not impossible. There is a rhythm, and you just have to tune into it. And so Mercury, like I said, has been backwards, so it's giving us a little review. Anytime the planets go backwards, it's time to review, revise, go back over. There might be something you missed along the way. This is the chance with Mercury. Like I said, it's our thoughts and ideas. So how have you been thinking lately? Have you been really overly optimistic and falling short of your goals, or have you been too pessimistic and not trying hard enough? Or how's your thinking been serving you? How are your ideas? Do they need a little tweaking? This is your chance to do that. And we have a couple of extra weeks on the back end where it's called a shadow period, where you're still going to feel the influences. And what a lot of astrologers pump about Mercury retrograde is the miscommunications and the technical difficulties and travel delays and things like that. And all that does happen. But I try to explain to people it's not to aggravate your soul. It is basically another hint from the universe, from spirit, that you need to take time out. And I love this. I love this because we have so many opportunities throughout the year. There's a time for forward push, and there's a time to pull back and review and go within, go do some work behind closed doors. And this is one of our opportunities for that. And then you slowly, gradually move forward. And so it's asking us, again, what is out of balance within you? What's out of balance within your relationships? How's your communication going? How is your communication with yourself? Listening to your body is a major communicator. Anything that's really, truly going on is probably manifesting in your body, and it's trying to get your attention. So you want to listen to that. How is communication going with other people? This is what time it is for the next 2 weeks or so. And adding to the intensity of the full moon, everyone knows the full moon intensifies our emotions. The moon represents our inner nature, our emotional nature. So again, with getting time out to really focus on how you're feeling within. This is out of your head into your heart, and how you're feeling right now. So it does get a little intense. And what's happening is Venus and Mars are both traveling through Scorpio, which is a very intense energy. It's the energy of creation. It's the most potent energy there is of all 12 signs. This is the energy of creation. So I get the intuitive feeling that this full moon, we need to purge and release anything that's blocking you from becoming your true, authentic self, because when we hit the new moon in Scorpio, it'll be time to create that from the ashes. So let it go. We do a little ritual where you write down everything you want out of your life. It can be tangible or intangible. I do a lot of, fear and doubt, procrastination. Those are intangible. If you want toxic relationships out of here, or poverty consciousness, or anything you need to write down and release, I just scribble all over paper and rip it up, and then you burn it in something safe, obviously, in a cauldron or a big ashtray or whatever works that is a safe place to burn something. In a fire pit is wonderful. That's what I do at home. So this is a great time to do that. On the full moon, you get this extra juice from the universe to just release anything that no longer serves you. Recognize your own evolution, how much you've grown and changed just in the last 6 months, the last year, 2 years, 5 years, etc. And to get an idea of what you need to release, just think back to 6 months ago. Think back to a year ago. These are complete cycles. When we're dealing with lunar, we're dealing with 2 weeks, 1 month, 6 months, and 1 year. These are the cycles that you can tune into, and this is what you want to get kind of cognizant of so that you're setting goals accordingly and you know when to check in. And that just really helps as we go through life in general. So a lot of survival issues are getting pushed in survival buttons and things. This is your chance to take charge.
Don't mind me, Kelly. I was just commenting that I heard Chris in the studio.
It's all good.
Oh.
But it is time to take charge and take the initiative on your own behalf. As you know, everybody's a little scattered and all over the place, so it's up to you. We're all adults here, as far as I know. Everyone needs to be responsible for yourself. The whole key to your freedom is being responsible, being able to make your own choices and do your own thing. So this is your chance to connect to that. And I did also make a little note here that Yom Kippur started, I believe, yesterday, and it gives you 10 days of atonement and forgiveness. And it's not that any, this is for non-Jewish people too. It's just an idea, guys, to tune into. Maybe you should ease up on yourself, forgiving yourself first, and then taking that out into the world for any poor choices that you've made, any bad decisions. The only way that you're going to strengthen and fortify yourself to move forward again is if you forgive yourself for any mistakes that you've already made. You're human. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay. You just have to do better going forward and working with what you've got. And this is what's happening in the world. As we know, everyone is being stripped of all the non-essential, all these erroneous, options. We're getting down to bare essentials. What do you really need to function? Because in truth, in fact, God really has given us all that we need, desire, and deserve right in our being. We have access at all times to spirit, to guidance. You just have to be still and listen. And that's how it works, everybody. And just tuning in, I would love to have you join the Power Circle anytime. Like I said, we have free calls every month. There's tons of free information on the site. Whatever you would like to do, if you'd like to contact me, I can be reached at kelly@karmictools.com, and my phone number is 301-237-2988, and I'm sure Lisa can give you that if you forget it or haven't had a chance to write it down. And I don't know if we're set up for questions, but at some point I would love to be on here and take questions. If you have anything, Lisa, that you can think of that the group might need to know, let me know.
Well, there again, I mean, it's not like we couldn't have you call in on my cell and have other questions or other callers too.
Okay.
So let's plan on doing that in the future too.
Right.
I mean, you are just so amazing. You explain it so simply. I mean, it's taking a language that is so
complex.
Yeah.
It is. It's a very complex language. And that's the challenge. I just don't feel like what's the point if you can't do something with it?
Right.
I'm just not into it for entertainment purposes only kind of thing. I really would like to have a way. And understand this, everyone. I live this stuff. I mean, this is how I got started because it worked for me, and I started sharing, and then more people, and it just evolved organically, which was beautiful. But it really does work when you work it. And a lot of the tools, the karmic tools that I have created, are things that I was the first guinea pig on. And then, of course, all my girlfriends and my male friends, I put them to work. And I'm testing all my theories and ideas and concepts that come to me. But it's just about consciousness and being aware of what's going on around you, understanding that you're not a victim. Nothing is happening to you. There is a rhythm that if you can get in sync with it, all of a sudden things start to flow so much more smoothly. And you're not blocked as often. There's not as many miscommunications because you're clear about who you are and your strengths and your gifts. For my Aries people out there, the whole key to Aries energy is being independent. You have to be the leader. You have to do you first and others second. And that's when it works. When you're imbalanced, you give and give and give and give and give, and then wake up angry that no one is reciprocating because that's not natural for an Aries. And there's nothing wrong with doing you first. So that's why I tease that I always give people permission to be selfish around this time because it's almost like we need that. They won't do it unless you say it's okay and kind of validate that because to me it's not selfishness, it's self-preservation. And there is a difference. There is a difference. If you are not healthy and whole and balanced, then any service that you're doing is not going to be received as well, let's put it that way, because we know that a lot of the service workers in the world, me included, we get drained because we're giving all the time, but you've got to get in a rhythm and on some kind of personal schedule that allows you to pull back and replenish. And that's what I love about the retrogrades, because that's really the planet's way of giving us a chance to replenish our vital energies, to go over the things that we're doing, make sure we're still on track. One of the exercises that I just instructed my circle to do was to look at your power wishes that you've been doing over the last 6 months. Do you still want these things? Because very often we get on autopilot and we're still pursuing goals that maybe we no longer even need or want. So being conscious is the key. You don't want to get into the habit of doing something. You see how crazy the world is, how every day is a new day.
Yeah.
We need to live that way within our being, too. We need to be ready for anything. And this is part of your boot camp,
Yeah.
This is part of it. But being courageous is what we have access to. We have tons of access to independence and courage and that warrior spirit that fights for a worthy cause. Not the warrior, my way, kind of my will. We want thy will to be done. And we want someone, if you feel like there is a certain area of the world, whether it's hunger or homelessness or children or old people or whatever, then pick up your bed and walk. Let's go. You have to do something to contribute as well. If it has some meaning to you, then do your little piece. And remember that you can't do it all anyway. Just be glad that you can contribute your piece and be able to do that. But first thing first is taking care of you, getting centered, getting healthy, replenishing your vital forces so that you're strong enough to go out and be able to give without draining your resources so much that you're laid out after that.
That's it.
It's
so interesting you're talking about that, and I'm thinking of of Jesus Christ, and it's like, maybe if he would have thought of himself more, he wouldn't have been crucified for trying to save the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my thought.
Exactly, but then there's people like that who do know that this is what it takes to facilitate change.
Symbology.
And then the sacrifices are worth it.
That's it.
So but you've got to know yourself well enough to make that choice consciously and not be victimized or pushed into it or bullied into it or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I just think that there are some causes that are worth the sacrifice, but you've got to go in committed to that. You've got to know that's what you're committing to. Right. And then you're okay with it. Then it's not toxic. Then you're not upset about it at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If you know that this is what it's going to take, then this is what we do. And for us moms at home, I was a stay-at-home mom, and I had to, the men associate a lot of their manhood and things and being the head of the household with their money and whatnot, and I had to put it in a new language for my husband and say that we sacrifice money to raise a healthy, balanced child. To me, I would do it 10 times over.
Yeah.
I am so willing to sacrifice money for this human being that now stands before us, an athlete and a straight-A student, and doesn't have any issues per se yet. You'll see. Talk to me after teenage years, guys. He's only 12.
but that's what it is. That's what's so important about being a role model for a child and not, telling them that, oh, you're wrong, you're not normal, you should be this way, you should be that way.
Exactly.
It's honoring who that person is.
Exactly. And it starts at home. Mm-hmm. That starts with us. So we have to honor ourselves and be honest about who we are and what our capabilities are and what we're willing to commit to.
Right.
And then it's clean, clear communication. When you lie to each other, you take away the other person's choice.
Right.
And then their response is a lie, and it's based on a lie, and then it just kind of steamrolls from there, and then people wonder why their relationships aren't working.
You got it. You got it. Honesty, number one.
Yes. And this is our chance. Like I said, every month we get a little rhythm here. There's the new moon gives us a chance to manifest and go out in the world and try to make things happen, and the full moon gives us a chance to pull back and review and go over and release and prune and make sure and tweak it. And so just this 1 month cycle is an easy one to get into. And understand this, way back in biblical times too, they were using the lunar cycles to do their planting and to do everything. So
Yeah.
This is the natural cycles, everyone. And unfortunately, in this modern world, we've gotten away from those natural cycles. And I'm all about bringing them back because they work. Even in the modern world, you can still maintain this natural schedule and feed your being on a level that strengthens and fortifies you to go out in the world and function, period.
Amen.
That's how that goes. And it's just practice. There is no perfection. We all get up every day and do the best we can with what we've got. But it does help to know what's going on around you. And yes, for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be quite intense. So don't say you haven't been warned. Try to use some of that intense energy to motivate you to to mobilize you, to get some action going. Instead of feeling victimized by it, oh, it's just so overwhelming, choose something about yourself or your community to move that energy into and direct it in a positive way. That's rage to outrage. There's lots of things that can make you very upset these days that don't seem to make any sense on the surface, but know that God has a plan, and the light always wins. So don't fall for these appearances. Fear is false evidence appearing real, and it's a trap to get you, to weaken you, so that you don't get up every day and fight the good fight. And this is what we want to be fortified for, and getting in tune with your being helps do that.
You got it, Kelly. That's why I love you so much. You just
don't get me started. I only have 15 minutes.
Oh,
I think my 15 minutes are up.
but I'll tell you what. Anybody who calls in, with what you do and your call-ins, plan an hour and a half, because this is what Kelly does, and she just goes. And then not only that, she has follow-ups. So I mean, because what she tells you, you can't absorb
Digest
it all.
And process
No.
it all in that moment. So yeah, there's a link to the audios. There's notes that go out the day after the calls, and then your personal activations, and that's just a word that I use, but the full moon is touching a place in each individual's being, and I include that in the notes so that you know which area of your life is actually being touched by this energy, and then it makes sense, and then you can be focused in the right area and co-creating with spirit and moving in tune with, in sync with, in rhythm with spirit and the universe and these natural cycles. Then again, it just eliminates the victim kind of consciousness. It eliminates feeling like things are happening to you. They're not happening to you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're watching us, but Shannon was at the, what was it? The
Southeast Women's Herbal Conference.
Last weekend. Yeah.
Please email me some details on that. I would love to participate one year.
It was wonderful.
Thank you. Yes, I just got done with Hay House at the I Can Do It in Tampa, and it was fabulous.
Well,
I did a whole day with Greg Braden. It was wonderful.
And that's what it's all about. It's empowerment, it's enlightening, it's education.
That's right.
Because
knowledge is power.
That's it. So many people were taught to fear this astrology crap. Oh, you were taught
power in the wrong hands.
That's it.
All.
That's it. You were taught to fear it because you're easily to control, or easier to control. Duh.
No.
Oh, well.
Our language is different.
That's it. We're just going to keep enlightening the public out there, and this is my community type of
there you go.
Public service. Because it does. I mean, we produce our own, and hopefully we'll get some more sponsors in and to support it. But this is like an addiction. I have to get it out. I have to.
And that's my thing too. Like I said, it started with me. I live this. So I'm doing it, and even the tools. I've created a date book that has been sort of in development since 2005 because I want a date book that has all the information I want at a glance. So whether or not it ever does anything monetarily means nothing to me. I need this date book.
Yeah.
Then don't you know, when you're detached from it, it automatically succeeds, because if I have a need, then others have a need, and that's why they say find a need and fill it. And that's how, this is what we do with our communities and our service, and the energy that we put in is just opening up possibilities. And that's what I tell people about astrology too. Believe nothing, just entertain the possibility that maybe there is a natural order here, and maybe there's a rhythm, and maybe you could get in tune with it and make some different decisions moving through your world. And I've been doing it for about 20 years, so I do stand on it. I believe in this.
Oh yeah, I mean I've been studying since I've been way back when. It has to be at least 30 years, and I'm nowhere near. I'm not as devoted as. That's why I come to you, Kelly.
Get back on track. We get a little realignment.
That's it. Well,
Yeah.
anyhow, I'm going to let you go because
Okay.
we're going to have Shannon talk a little bit more
Beautiful.
about what she has.
Nice to meet you, Shannon. All right.
Oh, Kelly, you come back again and
Yes.
Google Karmic Tools. She has a
Yes,
free
Kelly
reading.
Kelly at karmictools.com. And I'm always, I'm around. I'm primarily on the East Coast. I travel in the summers. Otherwise, I can be reached all over this coast. And hopefully I'll be in Asheville soon.
Oh, yeah, but you were also telling me about that you have people from all over the world who get up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I have a good 30 to 50 countries that log into my site regularly, and I had about 6 different countries on the last dozen calls or so. So they're waking up in the middle of the night to do these, and it, just because the information is valid, and I do a lot of work to make it interesting. And it's wonderful, and we support each other. They need this is what's happened. Is what started out kind of information has developed into a community of support.
That's it.
And that's where people feel nourished, they feel enlightened, they feel like they can go back in the world kind of fortified. And then every 2 weeks is about when we need a check-in. It's like when everyone hits the wall, it's like going to church every Sunday. We need that to get through the week.
You got
and that a lot of people really can't function without that dose of some positive, uplifting energy and some information on how to make better decisions in this moment, here and now, today.
That's it.
So lots of love. Namaste.
Namaste,
and I
Kelly.
will talk to you, I think, again on the 24th.
I'm gonna listen your next call in.
All right, baby. Talk to you later.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye, Shannon. Bye, Asheville. and beyond. I guess now we're national, too.
You got it. International.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
world. Whoa. Isn't she cool?
Yes.
I mean, it's like she just explains it and you understand it, and it's like,
Well, it's
you know?
a lot of it is common sense, which, when it's common sense, we don't think it's going to work.
Right.
And so,
Right.
how do we get unstuck from all this?
It's
And-
learning.
Yeah.
It's learning, but you have to understand that there is a problem
Yeah.
before it can be
Yeah.
changed. Oh, and you know what? I had something written down, and it's like, we look at how life is in general, and my thoughts come in and out, and this is one that had come. I used all the sticks and stones that people threw at me. Now I am the queen of my mountain. Oh, I know you guys like that one. But it's like, I mean, when you're going,
You made a house out of
that
it?
I made a mountain.
You made a mountain. Not just a
Yeah,
house.
that's it. I had a lot of people throwing a lot of crap at me.
Oh, okay. So we're talking mega sticks.
I'm
and stones
talking
there.
mega sticks
Okay.
and stones. So if you have somebody out there who's throwing sticks and stones, gather them up, because you too can build a mountain someday.
Oh, wow.
What can I say? What you up to? Tell me about this
gosh.
conference. I know it's like, gosh, time is going, and
It's going, it was
it goes so
just-
quickly.
Oh, it does. And it was such an amazing weekend. From the moment you got there, it was so organized, and the accommodations were great. It was at a camp, a Boy Scout camp, actually, in Black Mountain. And but the facility was absolutely great. I mean, it was from the lodging. You could stay in a lodge, or you could stay in a cabin. And a lot of the ladies actually camped the whole time. So there was a beautiful lake there, there was a theater there, there was a gym there. Everything was organized, and you had 5 or 6 classes to choose from, to the point that it was hard to choose, because this was really new for me. I've been a bad eater for a long time. And, my sister-in-law, Janice, from Florida, really prompt me to go to this with her, and she kind of arranged the whole thing. And I know Janice for years has come and opened my refrigerator and thought, oh, I better go shopping, because I was on that, low fat or no fat. There were no good fats, and now I've been re-educated to what are the good fats versus what are the bad fats, and it's really been an interesting journey for me. when you get there, the food, by the way, was fantastic. So you buy this meal ticket and you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The first day, Friday, you got dinner. And then the next 2 days, Saturday you got all three, and then on a Sunday you got breakfast and you got lunch. Well, this food was so incredible, but when I read it, I didn't recognize a lot of it.
Oh, the food that they
I
served you?
I didn't recognize the name of it. You know, I just went in and ate it, and it was unbelievably good. What I found was after 3 days of eating the way I should be eating, boy, I was detoxing.
Really?
I mean, yeah.
How did you feel?
Um,
Were you sluggish, detoxing?
Actually, I was kind of excited, like the bad was going out.
Oh, okay.
and the
So you
new
had
would
more
come in.
energy to
I had more energy by the
bouncing?
third day.
Yeah?
But you know, being there, you got this immediate energy. You know, it was no man allowed. There was one man lifeguard, I think. Yeah, there was one man lifeguard.
Oh,
But
boy.
there was no man
One
allowed.
male rooster lifeguard? Whoa.
Yeah, and so, you know, it was this bonding with sisterhood that you hear about. You know, you walk in there, I knew a few people from different, you know, places I've been in, different clubs I've been in, but the majority of these ladies came from all over and to this. And you didn't know a stranger. I mean, everybody was saying hi to you, and it felt right. It felt good. The bonding was incredible.
They just got along good?
Yeah. And, you know, it wasn't just all about herbs and good health and good food, although the majority is that was the message. But there were other courses you could take that were talking about, you know, tough things that go on in our lives and what we can do. And then they had just some classes where you could just go in and talk, like with a talking stick, and it would just pass it around, and you could say something that's bothering you, or you could get
just to get it off your chest.
Feedback from all these ladies. I didn't go to any of those classes. I just heard about them because I was such a novice. I needed to know all the basics. That was another thing. I was afraid that it was going to be way over my head since I had been, you know, drinking a lot of Diet Cokes and, you know, just not doing the right things. Margarine, not butter, you know.
Oh, what, you learned that there too? Or?
Oh, yeah. You learn
what,
to
margarine?
stay away from it.
Margarine, not butter?
No, that's how I was.
Oh.
What I learned was butter, not margarine. But I thought
Okay.
I would have to I thought all the classes that I would go to, I really thought that I wouldn't get it, you know, that it would be way above, because some of these girls had been going to these conferences for years, so I figured they weren't going to go right to the basics, but they did. And that was wonderful for me. So it's kind of, you reiterate basics, even though the girls have heard it many, many times, and then you go up the ladder from there, and you learn about how can I take care of my body better, or what goes in. You start really realizing what goes in.
What goes in?
And how to read labels. That was the main message. When you go into a grocery store now, you know the old days when we went to the grocery store and it took 20 minutes, we had this list, we didn't look at a label.
No.
Actually,
And that
I
was
never
before there were labels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But even when labels came, I didn't look at that.
Oh,
I
didn't
just
you?
looked
Yeah.
at the picture on the label, you know? And if the picture looked good, I usually bought it. Well, or if it said no fat or fat-free, you know, I went through that like, okay, if I don't eat fat, boy, that's going to be good. But I didn't realize that it was just the opposite, because there are good fats. You don't want to pig out on the bad fats.
Right.
But there's good fats, like the ones you get in walnuts and the ones you get, you know, in
walnuts, peanuts,
dairy, and
protein.
you know, I mean, there's good dairy. There is good dairy, but you have to keep the good stuff in it for it to be good. And so what we've been doing as a nation is taking the good stuff out and saying that that's better for us.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Are they taking the good stuff out to say that it's better for you, or are they taking the good stuff out so that your bodies break down because it's not getting the nutrition, so that you have to go to the doctor to get a drug,
Now there you
and
go.
it's all about the...
But yet we don't have a healthcare system that's working, so that's not...
No, it depends on who you're talking to. We have a healthcare system that's working for few.
Yeah.
And there are few who do profit quite highly, just like only a drug can cure a disease. Wow, can you imagine what good nutritional eating can do for the body?
And what about these people that pick an alternative? You hear about it all the time, that instead of picking what was suggested to them, or you know what the books say and what the doctors say, that have just said, I'm not going to do that. Well, and they've had to go to other countries sometimes to do it.
Right.
But sometimes they choose stay here and to eat the right things and to research it. To
Right.
research it and just
Right.
not listen to what the so-called experts are
And
saying.
there again, that's something with you that you're real good. We have some credits that are rolling for the last hour. Mark, did you 1-2 tape there's another blank one that's right up on top. It's about an hour, and it's like, I mean, it just goes so fast.
gosh.
I'm like,
Unbelievable.
do you think that I should get? They have to be or pretend to be something other than who they truly are. And it's like, when are we the happiest? But when we are truly ourselves and we just laugh.
Yeah, and time.
Well, when we truly are, I'm me. If you don't like me, that's okay.
Yeah, because I still like you and not judging other people.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, you
A
just.
big
And
part
that's
of
what
it.
I noticed there. Nobody was judging anybody. Everybody.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, these ladies were. Some of the outfits were just so cool, incredibly cool. It was
Yeah.
like all these scarves and and all these like layers of things over things. And I was thinking, man, it seemed right. Everybody just had their own style, and every style.
And it all
was-
blended.
It all blended, and every style.
And
was
that's what's
accepted.
so important, that we can't be because we are to be. And it's like we have to be who we truly are in order to be who we truly
right.
are.
That's right.
We have so many people that, searching, who am I, who am I, who am I? And we're asking other people who we should be instead of listening to our guts. Our guts are God unto thee.
And something that they talked about was finding that inner child and going back to that inner child and asking questions and asking that inner child what you really need to be, and seeing what the child says back to you, seeing what the child needs from you, because you're all a whole, but yet there's that inner child inside of us that we keep pushing down because society tells us to act a certain way.
That's it.
And
That's
yeah,
it.
It's so much more fun when you don't act that way.
Yeah.
Life is so much better.
Well, but there again, it's like, who is controlling who? And people get out there and vote. There's more than 2 political parties. Do your research. Obviously, we can't listen to what's going on TV because all we're hearing is negative, bash, and negative. And, well, what do you stand for? What do you stand for? What changes are you going to make? Who are you going to vote if we don't hear any of these before we hear the bad mouth,
Yeah.
Oh, I have an idea. I have a solution. How about if we get the I Ching guy out here?
Let's do it.
Yeah?
Get the I Ching
Shannon, I love you too. And you're just going to have to keep coming back because we got a whole lot more stuff.
Yes, and thank you. And I love to be here. And
Cool.
and I really love that I Ching guy,
Well, I wonder why. You're a little partial. Oh, goodness. And in case you were wondering, Grandpa Carl, hey, man, I hope you're feeling okay.
Hi, Grandpa Carl.
He was feeling ill, so he could not make it today. And I'm hoping that he's going to be here next week.
Yeah.
Because this is brought to you by Vibratease, the fish collar. And that's another one that you can Google, Vibratease.
Hey, I wonder if he really feels okay and he's fishing right now. What do you think?
Oh.
How about
Oh. How about that, Grandpa Carl? Are you out fishing? Is that what happened to
it?
you?
With some fire water, just having a good time?
No, he pretty well stays away from that fire water.
Well, I just hope he's feeling better and we can see him next week, and because I miss his jokes.
Yeah.
We gotta have
Yeah.
his jokes.
Well, I was trying to cue it up so that you could see where he falls down to the bank into the water,
I'm sure he would love that.
Yeah, well, I couldn't find it, darn it.
Oh.
I'm going to disappear for a minute, and I'm going to get the I Ching guy out here. And it was really cool to see you guys this week. I've had so much fun. And I will be back again. We will be back again next week. But I'm going to bring the I Ching guy out, and that means that I'm going to go in the control room and play.
And that means I turn into I Ching lady.
Hey, I thought I turned mine off. Oh. Okay.
No?
Okay, this was off. I should have checked.
Okay, are we on now? Can you hear us now? Okay. What I just asked Mark is if maybe give a little overview and explain to him what prompted you to get involved in it and how did you get started in it and explain it a little bit to our audience.
Yes, I accidentally discovered it. I was watching, I don't know if I could mention, one of those very famous channels
Yeah, just say that. That's good.
that shows a lot of historical things, you could say. Because I'm kind of tiptoeing around here, I don't.
Yeah, we're not sure what we can say and what we can't say, so we're just going to give you an example, and then you just fill in the blanks.
So, like, it's a channel that deals with a lot of history, So I can say that.
I think you got it now, right?
That's kind of vague. So, and on there they had a thing about Doomsday 2012, or 2012, the end of days. I think that's what it's called. Oh, I shouldn't have said that title. Sorry. Well, anyway, yeah, if I was wrong, I'm sorry. But they had several things. There was the Maya predictions about they're thinking from what it said, they're going to end, the world will end December 21st, 2012. And something about that with the I Ching came up. But that's a little bit later. I think the overview, we should go with the pictures here. Yeah, we need to go over the overview because if we could go to that first picture. If we can go to that first picture.
Yeah, the very first picture. That's all right. This is live.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So, so according to, I don't like to use the word myths or mythology. I think it's a little bit arrogant and condescending. I like to say legends. According to the Chinese legends, the I Ching was invented by the gentleman you see here, the Emperor Fu Shi. And I think it may be about here. I think he was drawing at the first trigrams. Or wait a minute. No, it wasn't covered. It's fine. It was about here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there they are. I don't know if you can make them out, but it's that. The first trigrams, 3 horizontal bars. And he was getting it off of the shell of this turtle here, according to the legends. On the pieces of the shell, the different parts, he was seeing that, of that turtle. So he drew them. Those are the trigrams. But also along with that, in general though, well just before that, he would according to the legend, he would look up at the sky and he looked at the shadows of the earth and he would notice the things like where the sun is shining, it's bright and warm. Where the sun is not shining, it's cold. And it's dark and cold. So he came up with the idea of yin and yang there, which is in the next picture. Most people are familiar with this image. There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, most people are familiar with this image. And
Well, let's stop for a second.
but
There,
okay,
yeah.
and then if you could go, you see you have yin and yang. They kind of interact with each other. They go back and forth a lot. It's just not. It's not like. So there's yang is hard. Yin is soft. Yang is warm. Yin is cool. The white, that is yang. That's masculine. The yin is feminine. And, stuff like that. Now, the next picture, you'll see a dragon turtle. That's another thing that one of the legend's variations is that it was on something like that. Now, if it was as big as that statue, I don't know if I ever got that quite clear, but that's another thing. Some people think it was just a turtle. Some people think it was that dragon turtle.
Like a giant turtle.
Maybe giant, maybe giant. Then the next picture, he came up with the trigrams. That's a better look at them. And you can see how some at the top are yang, the ones at the bottom are yin. He's got the different elements on there. Okay, the first yang white one on the far left, that's fire. And going clockwise, we have lake, we have heaven, then we have wind, then water, then mountain, then earth, and thunder. So, you know, he came up with those traits. And then, many years later, there was political unrest and stuff going on. It was very complicated. But a bad government had threw this good king into jail and was holding him there, named King Wen, W-E-N. And so he was stuck in there for several years. So while he was there, he went ahead and worked on the I Ching some more. Everyone, you know, they had come up with the idea of putting two on top of each other. That's called a hexagram. So you have, you know, 6 lines instead of just 3. And he had them in whatever arrangement, perhaps, but sometime, and I think it might be on the next picture, although that picture might be in there several times where, okay, that's a bakwa. I guess next picture, please. I may have some repeats in there. There you go. Those are all 64 hexagrams. There's 64 possible combinations. According to legend, King Wen, at one point in his jail cell, saw them glowing on the wall in that arrangement. So he quickly wrote them down. And so because he saw that and he wrote it down, it's called the King Wen sequence. That's not the only sequence. There's some other sequence, I forgot what it's called, but that's the King Wen sequence. That's the most common one you see. Let's see. So then his son had a successful uprising, got rid of the bad government, and made it to where King Wen should be the king like he should be.
It's a long, long time ago, right?
Yeah, way, way back, some couple thousand at least. I forgot exactly what now because I had my notes and
Yeah.
my notes are here. My fault. So his son was the Duke of Chow. Now, keep in mind, people, if I get any of these pronunciations wrong, I'm sorry, and I would appreciate corrections. What's that?
How can they find you?
Oh, well, on MySpace, I am I Ching Scholar. I Ching Scholar. And I meant to say that too. Please, by all means, anybody out there that wants to be my MySpace friend, please send me an invitation.
And also the name. We have the GLoLady TV on name.com.
Yes.
Our social networking where you are.
Yes. Yes, yes. And also, the Ching GLoLady has a GLoLady space and a GLoLady TV MySpace. If you look at my I Ching Scholar space, look at my top 40 friends. That's like 38th, 39th, and 40th. You'll see them right there. So just, you know, go to MySpace while you're there. Go ahead and get over to her. Send her a friend request. So anyway, the I Ching, it just pretty much was in China. Oh, I think the next picture. Okay, that was something called the Yellow River map. Someone had drawn that. I haven't quite got that exactly. Now, it's usually not shown that way. It's usually shown kind of squared and just black and white. And it's basically the same thing, but it's more artistic and round and different shades of red and black. And I thought it looked pretty cool, so I put that there. And I guess we could go to the next picture, please. And hopefully that's the right one. Okay. The I Ching has inspired a lot of people. It inspired Confucius, for example. Confucius was very inspired by the I Ching. He was,
That's saying a lot to inspire.
I mean, yeah, everyone knows how wise he is.
Yeah.
So if the I Ching wasn't real or whatever, Confucius would be wise enough to not bother with it. But no, he spent the last several years of his life studying it, and he's accredited with writing on these appendices on there called the 10 Wings. And but anyway, at one point, I think he said if he could add just a few more years to his life, he would devote 50 of them to the study of the I Ching, because in that way he could avoid life's great faults. I believe that was his. Believe that was his wording. So Confucianism, highly influenced by the I Ching, and on the next picture, Lao Tzu. I believe I pronounced that right. Or Lao Tzu, sorry. He was influenced by it, and he wrote a book called the Tao. It looks like Tao Te Ching, but it's pronounced Tao De Ching. And there are people who are into that who are called Taoists or Taoists. And that book is here, although it's blue, so it's kind of fading away, but I have a copy of it here. Very deep stuff, very, very deep stuff. Here's an example of what he said here. This is just part of a poem. You can readily recognize the highest virtuousness because it never places itself on display. You can readily recognize the lowest virtuousness because it is always announcing itself. The highest virtue quietly serves universal needs. The lowest virtue actively strives for personal success. The highest morality serves common needs. The lowest morality is self-serving. You know, some very wise things here was said by Lao Tzu, and he was very inspired by the I Ching as well, like Confucius. Now, on the next picture, we can get that.
I don't know. You look pretty nice there, Mark.
No. They rather look at you. Now, up until then, up until the late early 20th century, the I Ching was pretty much just a Chinese thing. Chinese people knew about it. We Europeans, Western Hemisphere people, we may have heard references to it here and there, but we didn't really know that much about it. Well, this guy here is Richard Wilhelm. And it was on my notes exactly when he lived, but it was 18-something to 19-something, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
And he was the first person to translate it from Chinese to German. Now it was in a Western Hemisphere language. It was in a European language. Anybody who spoke German could read it. And here's a copy of that, if I may say. I'm not trying to make any sales. I'm just trying to make a point. That's what it looks like. It's that is called, and huh?
Okay, you can pick it up.
Okay, here we go. I Ching. Well, anyway, that got some interest, and you'll see there's a name here called Bain's. It'll say Wilhelm Bain's. That is Carrie Bain's. I don't know when she lived, and there's no picture of her on the internet as far as I can tell.
You couldn't find any?
No, but she translated what he wrote from German into English, which made this. And it's been a bestseller ever since. So because of that, it's very important what Richard Wilhelm did. He brought it to the Western world. And his son added some more too, Helmut Wilhelm. He has added to it some extra things. He made some lectures on it, which are in books, gave some lectures. And at one point, he was in Shanghai, China, I believe, somewhere in China, and it was during World War II. The Japanese had taken over that section, and now nobody was allowed to come in, nobody was allowed to leave. And his son, Helmut Wilhelm, was one of several Europeans who were stuck there. They couldn't leave. So in anything to pass the time, they were enjoying that, waiting to finally get released, maybe, they were hoping. Helmut Wilhelm gave them a lecture on the I Ching, and they enjoyed it. And there's Richard Wilhelm's grave. And as you can see, he has the 8 trigrams on there. Quite fitting for all, the time and he devoted to it.
Yeah.
Time
Very
and effort.
devoted,
Very devoted. He studied almost 10 years under the master in China
Oh,
there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, almost 10 years. So he really dedicated to that. Oh yeah, you made it bigger, great. So you can see now where the grave is, I don't know, but hopefully someday I can visit it. Now the next picture, yes, that's, some people may know him, Terence McKenna. He came up with, and this is what was on the show I saw about End of Days. He did a mathematical thing with the I Ching where it went over itself. We may have to make this a 2-parter. Is that okay?
Yeah. There's so much to learn about this, but we want to give you all the information that we can for you to understand it before we show you how the readings actually work.
Yes, yeah.
I think it's the same as astrology. There's so much.
Yeah.
We can't do it in a half an hour, and we're not going to fool the people into thinking that, oh, you too can learn this in a half an hour.
Oh, no.
Hopefully they'll come back and we'll just, learn it slowly as we go.
Okay, well, great. Let me see if I can, because I can see we only have a few minutes left. I don't know when he was born. He's an American as far as I know. I'm not an expert on Terence McKenna. He passed away in 2000. He came up with this mathematical formula. He was also known as a subcultural Timothy Leary of the 1980s and 90s. He came up with this mathematical formula, and where you do something with the I Ching, you kind of multiply itself, 64 times 64. And the beginning of it is when the I Ching was supposed to have been founded and invented, and in how far would it go into the future. And according to his graph, that's called time wave 0.
Time wave 0.
Yes, that's the time wave 0 theory. It ends on December 31st, 2012. And then supposedly later he found out that the Mayan calendars ended on that day, like that may be the end of the day.
He didn't know
So
it,
here's
huh?
well, that was the official story.
Okay.
That he didn't know, although I
Okay.
think I wouldn't just 100% accept the idea that he didn't know, He did sell some books, so. But you can see here the highs and lows of history. And if you could go to the next one. And you see it gets as far as World War II. You have dips. And on the next picture, you see it gets to December 21st, 2012. My chair may be in the way. There you go. Yeah. So that's what got my attention. And so, I don't know, maybe as a premise to the beginning of the next part 2, the conclusion of the I Ching presentation, I can say that I looked up the continuing of it, hopefully conclusion. Hopefully I can say, I can just go ahead and say I then looked it up on Wikipedia, which I think is all right to mention. It's nonprofit as far as I know. And I started buying books and
studying it. And
Studying
reading
it.
every night till about 3 o'clock in the morning.
yes, we were going to tell you about some of the things that we predicted with the I Ching. Things the I Ching had told us, like we asked the question, what's going to happen with this and what's going to happen with that.
We can share that with them next.
But
next
it looks
session.
like we're not going to have any time,
Yeah.
so maybe, if that okay, maybe?
Oh, yeah. We can share some of the predictions that the I Ching has made, the people that have actually asked Mark to do readings for them.
Yes.
And we can get into that a little bit more at the next, and how you ask questions.
How
with
you
the I
ask
Ching.
questions.
Yeah, because that's real important. You've got to be very specific if you want a specific answer.
Yes, because when you ask the I Ching a question, the more vague the question, the more vague the answer you're going to get.
yeah.
The more specific the question you ask, the more specific the answer you're going to
And we
get.
found that out personally. It actually was a little bit scary to me a couple times with the prediction that it gave us when we asked them something very specific, and it did happen. So, you know,
Yes.
that was a little bit unnerving at first. Now it isn't. I'm just careful what I ask, because if I don't want to know the answer, I don't ask it.
Yes.
In other words, be careful what you ask for.
But
We've really enjoyed our time with you, and hopefully next time we will have our little Ching dog with us, Shamrock.
yes.
A little rescue dog that we just adore, and she just seems to always make us happy and give us good luck in just in her being and her presence. And so we were going to bring her today, but we just didn't have time to, with everything we had to get ready. So hopefully next week we'll have her with us, and you can meet another one of our family members.
Yes.
What? You mean we had a whole lot of fun getting ready today?
Uh-huh.
Oh, but we had such a great time.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, anybody hungry? Anybody want to eat?
Oh yes, Chinese buffet.
Oh, yes.
Who likes those buffets?
Oh my gosh, but I have to be, I know which things to eat now after last weekend.
Oh, you mean that there are some good stuff?
Yeah, there's some good stuff,
Want
yeah.
to stay away from the MSG?
You do, you want to stay away from that.
Oh man, I want to go and visit this place. This looks so happy.
Yes.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
That place?
I would love my house to look like that.
Oh, that is like so cool.
Yes.
It would probably look a little odd in the neighborhood looking like that.
Oh, yeah, a little different, but
That would be cool downtown, wouldn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
look at that.
My neighbor and I was your neighbor and we had a house like that. Well, hey, you know, that's like so cool.
that would make the property values go up.
Uh-huh.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, this is GLoLady TV, and we are getting towards the end of our show today because it is like not even 2 minutes yet. So I guess we're going to start to roll in. And I thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, Google either GLoLady or GLoLady TV, and you'll find us. So, see ya.
Sayonara.
See you, beautiful Asheville people.
See you, world.
Oh, see you, beautiful
World.
world. Yes.
Love you.
We love you, world. Yes.